First tonight, this is Maine's basketball time of year. Yesterday we talked with Dave Albee about his new book on the 50th anniversary of the state championship game between his alma mater, Foxcroft Academy, and Medomak Valley High School.
The two stars of that game are still around, and 207's Don Kerrigan decided they should also get to tell part of the story. Hello, Don.
Hi, guys. I love this story because, of course, I'm old enough to remember back in that day when high school basketball was king in Maine in the wintertime. Still is in some places. And Kevin Nelson and Alan Barron were two of the best.
Back in high they go, down to 4. Nelson stops. The jumper good at the buzzer.
In rural Maine in winter, the quest for the gold ball can stir passion, pride, and memory.
Does this place look much different than it did?
No. Other than less bleachers, no.
Al Barron and Kevin Nelson are forever linked by those memories. 50 years ago, this month, they faced each other here at the Augusta Civic Center for the state Class B basketball championship.
They caught the photo from looking towards this direction, I think it was. And that just captured the crowd. You could see the crowd. Our side was on this side. Foxcroft was on that side, correct?
They were the two big men. Al was 6'6", Kevin 6'8".
There were four jump balls. I don't know. I don't think I lost all four, but I can't remember. I really don't. I could jump pretty well.
That was back in the day.
We had one at every quarter.
Every quarter.
Every quarter, yeah.
Kevin Nelson was center for Foxcroft Academy. Al Barron a power forward at Medomak Valley. And it may be that destiny had planned their showdown. Both teams came to the championship game undefeated.
With all due respect to the other good teams in the state that year, I think we were probably considered the two best boys basketball teams in high school, in Maine high school that season.
And you guys, you probably don't want to admit it, but you guys were the stars of the team. Right?
We were
the tallest ones, I
We
guess.
were the tallest ones. We each had a very good supporting cast, though, I'll say that. Every one of my teammates was very capable, and Kevin's as well.
Nelson dominated the board Saturday night and scored.
We could find no film of that title game, but there is radio, and there is this. From a Foxcroft win the week before in that year's Eastern Maine tournament, and from my own late-night newscast.
And Foxcroft was not to be denied.
Were you guys nervous going in?
Yes.
More than usual?
Yes, I was.
Our team was not nervous at all. We had such an easy run through the Western Maine tournament. We scored almost 300 points in 3 games.
Kevin says Foxcroft had struggled at the end of its season and then built back in the tournament.
We had to get a groove back, I guess you could say.
Then, as now, school pride and town pride were at stake.
Whether you're mid-coast Maine or inland Maine like me, and particularly in rural areas, in the wintertime,
that was the show. That was what people wanted to do. They looked forward to the games. They turned out in large numbers.
And by game time, the Civic Center, they say, was packed and roaring.
It was just incredible. I mean, the noise in this building that night was deafening.
And the game?
Drives, gets the pass over to Barron, he lays it up and in.
They remember only some.
It was just a lot of it was a blur. I can remember, I have snapshots in my head, but no movie.
It was a real championship matchup. The lead bounced back and forth all game. Medomak led at the half, but in the fourth quarter, Foxcroft surged back.
We were down, and the clock became our enemy.
But Kevin Nelson was in foul trouble.
Off the glass, no good. And Nelson's going to get called for the offensive foul. And boy, there's a big play in this ball game right now. That's the 4th foul on Nelson.
Kevin got 4 fouls. Did you think that might have been a shot if you could get his 5th?
No, I was certainly trying.
Kevin, you remember? Did you play
I was certainly trying.
At that point in time, that's a really good point. Because not only myself, but a teammate of mine, I think Kenny Burchell had 4 fouls as well.
Down by 3 with the clock ticking, Al Barron got the ball underneath.
Rebound inside to Barron. He puts it up, stopped out there by Nelson. Ingraham away with the board.
Well, it was right about where that little half circle is, right there. I got a rebound right here in the lane, and I can remember being really down low, and I had that ball, and I was trying to figure out any way I could. We were down 3 at the time with 15, 20 seconds left to go, and I said, I need to make this basket, and I didn't. According to the newspaper article, I faked him a couple times, and it didn't work. He blocked me, and then they got the ball. We probably had to foul them, and it ended up 3-point differential.
And the Foxcroft Academy basketball team, #1 Class B state champions.
Kevin's block may have saved the win. Foxcroft Academy, for the only time in school history, got the gold ball. It sits there today in the center of the school's trophy case. There are many other trophies in there, but 50 years later, that gold ball still holds the place of honor. Medomak would win its own gold ball 2 years later, and again in 1980, and has fought for them several times since. For Kevin and Al, basketball continued in college, and in the years after, these two former rivals became friends.
Al was the best player I played against my senior year, easily. And he was on, obviously, the best team that we played against my senior year.
He was a real big man. I was more of a power forward type guy. I played less with my back to the basket than I did facing the basket, and he was a true big man. He had the reach and stuff that I'd never experienced before.
Both have had busy lives and families and careers and are now retired, but there will always be that moment, that one game when two young stars put it all on the line for the title, for the pride, for the gold ball. That elusive, mystical main award that doesn't tarnish, that enshrines a shared moment in their lives and always will.
You know, one of many interesting points about this, both Al Barron and Kevin Nelson said that when they walked into the Augusta Civic Center for that game, it was the first time they had ever been in that building because it had only been around a couple years. And Al Barron said he and his team had never played ball with freestanding glass backboards. And Kevin had played it at the Bangor Auditorium the week before, but Barron and Medomak had never seen it, and it took him a while to adjust.
There are so many things I love about that story, including how Al at one point points to the spot on the court where a key play occurred.
Yes, absolutely.
50 years later.
Isn't that something? And by the way, Medomak Valley is back in the hunt. They're playing Friday afternoon of this week against York for the Northern Maine title, the Southern Maine Class B title. If they win, they'll be back in the state championship.
Also loved the footage with your narration from 1975.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
We should also mention that last night here on 207, we talked with Dave Albee, who has just written a book about the 1975 Foxcroft Academy team. It's called The Last One Out of Town, Turn Out the Lights. And if you missed that interview, you might want to check that out. You'll find that in the 207 section of our app or website. Thanks, Don.